Hello and welcome to another episode of the Autocar Professional Dialogue. Our guest today is Mr. Vipin Sondhi, Managing Director of Ashok Leyland, India's second largest commercial vehicle maker, which has a very ambitious dream to be among the top 10 commercial vehicle majors, commercial vehicle OEMs globally. Well, Mr. Sondhi has just announced the quarterly results and good news there, Mr. Sondhi. Is it a reflection of the sequential improvement in the commercial vehicle industry?
First, Sumantra, pleased to be here and good to see you again. Well, the quarter one of this year has had a state-by-state lockdown, as we all know. So is there going to be a sequential improvement? Well, quarter one's broken it immediately. I think, or we think, that quarter on quarter will be better. We'll get stronger, but we have to ensure that we maintain safety as we go through what could be a third wave.
Right. A third wave is something which we are all wary about and should avoid at any cost. Let's say, minus the third wave, the threat of a third wave, how is the industry looking? Could you throw some more light in terms of the subsequent quarters?
So I think we've got to watch that very carefully. But when I look at each segment of commercial vehicle industry, each has its own demand and growth drivers. So the light commercial vehicles, driven a lot by e-commerce, driven a lot by rural demand. We think e-commerce will continue. Rural demand may be a little muted, but I think that will continue. So light commercial vehicles should continue on their return to recovery. And then let me move to tippers. Government spending is very important for infrastructure. It seems that looking at the roads and highways numbers, it seems that they are coming back to higher numbers. And therefore, we think tipper demand will continue to come back as well. And then we come to the heavy commercial vehicles. And if you remember, the heavy commercial vehicles were the worst affected because of the axle load norms, which changed 2.5 years ago. To that extent, capacity utilization has to be completed. But I think with the economy forecast to grow at about 9.5%, these are core economy. This goes with GDP, these heavy trucks, etc. We think that maybe they'll be slower in the beginning, but they will start coming back as well. And the confidence comes from because in Q4, we had started seeing the demand for long haul to come back as well. We see no reason why that shouldn't come back. But the phases in which they will come back will depend on which segment each one of these supports.
Right. And also with the signs of improvement or expected improvement in the market and also the projected economy, though it was revised downward from 10.5, 9.5 is still good. So with that, is the investment cycle back in terms of any significant investment plans for this year? Could you throw some light on that also?
Sumantra, we will ensure that we keep focused on the future, whether it's technology, people. But you have to remember that we launched 2 new platforms last year. The modular business platform, which we call the Avatar, and the Phoenix platform, from which the Bada Dost came out. Now, we'll be launching more and more variants out of this platform. Plus, there will be maintenance capexes. We've got plants, and we have to ensure that they're constantly upgraded, constantly debottlenecked, etc., etc. So it's a lot of that, but the major capex cycle came off a year and a half ago. Now we've got to ensure that we sustain the momentum and use the capex mix very, very judiciously. We will not in any way postpone anything. We will ensure that we remain focused on supporting the customer in technology, in people, in service, in parts, in every way which is possible.
Mr. Sondhi, you touched upon the 2 key interventions that you made of the Avatar platform for the MNHCV side and the Phoenix platform for the LCV side. Between the two, the fees, the LCV play is going to be will see much more action than the MHV space. You're already very well entrenched in the LCV. There is a lot of scope for Ashok Leyland or not to grow both in the domestic market as well as overseas. How do you see the LCV play shaping up for you over the next couple of years?
It's been shaping up very well over the last 8 or 9 years, and with the launch of the Bada Dost from the Phoenix platform, and it won the CV of the Year award in 6 months after launch across all the CV categories. So it was not LCV category, it was the CV category. So the LCV play will continue. We grew market share by 2 percentage points. And the Bada Dost had only participated in 5 months out of that or 6 months out of that. So we see further strengthening of our LCV play within the country and, as you rightly mentioned, outside the country as well. But then not taking anything away from the Avatar. The Avatar with the modular business platform is technologically it's a several steps ahead of what was prevailing in India before April 1, 2020. And therefore, we see from the point of view of technology, from the point of view that it's a customizable product, from the point of view that we think the total cost of ownership is the best in the industry. So as the customer starts using it, they will see more and more value. And we're getting very positive feedback in the last 8 or 9 months that it's been on the road.
So the way it appears to me, while the Phoenix platform, its job will be to kind of really grow Ashok Leyland's presence in the LCV space. For the Avatar, while incremental growth is important, but it will also to be protect its Ashok Leyland's position in the medium and heavy commercial market. So currently, what is your share in the MNHCV segment? And with the Avatar, how do you know what kind of incremental growth do you expect?
The important thing, Sumantra, is that this is technologically superior. We will value sell this. And as I mentioned, as the customer gains acceptance, the preference for the Avatar platform will be of a notch higher because technologically it is better. And what do we mean by technology? You can customize it and you get better total cost of ownership, and quality of reliability has been built into the design itself. Coupled with better service, we've got something called the iAlert 3.0, which is real-time information coming back from each truck into a control center that we have, so that we are able to monitor and proactively take steps which we can pre-warn the owner or the fleet owner or the retail owner with. And so a lot of digital play is going to come in, where we're going to make it easier for the customer to ensure that he or she gets the best out of the vehicle that they have. Further, we're going to even strengthen ourselves in the north and the east, where we know we have to expand our presence. So that will also give us an increased, let's say, share of the overall pie. But technology, people, and service will be the key differentiators by which we will grow.
Got it. And talking about technology, Mr. Sondhi, the EV technology. I mean, Ashok Leyland made its move in the electric mobility space quite early, I would say. However, things did not progress as expected, not only for Ashok Leyland but for the overall industry as well. And with your new, not so new strategy of clubbing all your EV technology assets under Switch Mobility, what is the plan going ahead, and how much of advancement have you already made since you made that reorganization of your electric mobility business?
Sumantra, very, very good question. The whole idea is to channelize all our strengths in terms of people and capability and sourcing into one singular vehicle, which is singular company. That's whole bread and butter is electric vehicles, because it's new. So the division of Ashok Leyland of EVs, as you mentioned, was there for some time, and we have EV buses flying in Ahmedabad and now in Patna. We also had Optare in the UK, which was diesel and electric. We've carved it and made it electric, and both of these have now come into Switch Mobility. So as we have buses, those will continue till Switch designs and develops a new its own plans, let's say, and don't talk. Switch will be focused to design its own plans, which will be a global interplay, in which India will play a huge part on sourcing, operations, engineering capability, but the focus will be electric vehicles, electric buses and electric LCVs. Till such time, we will continue to supply and bid and participate in the Indian market as we were anyway, and improvements will keep coming.
Okay, so just to understand, Mr. Sondhi, let's say if there's a market intervention by Switch Mobility in India in the commercial vehicle space, so will it be under the Optare brand or will it be under the Ashok Leyland brand? And when can we expect any introduction of the an additional EV product, but for the first time under Switch Mobility?
The brand will be Switch, and we'll get back to you with plans as when it's done. But the brand will be Switch. So, okay. I mean, it's a very nice sounding electric kind of name. At least we thought so. I don't know whether you think so, but so the brand will be Switch.
And also, I mean, talking about electric mobility, the just an announcement yesterday or was the day before by the Reliance Industries on really investing hugely on gigafactories and fuel cell. So does that come as that should be kind of good news for the EV industry as well, right?
No, I think more interesting even for the hydrogen industry. So when you look at it, you know, the budget that was the national budget that was announced in February talked of a national hydrogen mission.
Yes.
So the government of India is very, very serious. And then when you have one of the largest corporate sectors saying that they will invest big time into hydrogen and green energy, there are opportunities. So where do commercial vehicles come into this space? It is expected, Sumantra, that the heavy commercial vehicles which ply nationally, which is flying across state borders, flying across our vast country, could well be in the future powered by hydrogen fuel cells. And therefore, it is important that we are sensitive to that, and we are sensitive to that.
Okay, so which in other words means that there are works going on for developing commercial vehicles which can run on hydrogen.
So it's early stages as yet. Are we, as I said, are we sensitive to it? The answer is yes, and I'll leave it for the moment.
Okay. And that brings me to the question about the status of your progress towards realizing the stated vision to be among the top 10 CV makers globally. Where have we reached? And has the pandemic also kind of thrown a spanner in the works for towards realizing the goals?
Yeah, Sumantra, when you have a vision, you have a vision, and you stay true to that vision. And along the journey will come several ups and several downs. And now when you look at a global thing, then you've got to see how some of the other countries fared. And China, for example, came back earlier than the rest of the world. So there was an advantage, let's say that the Chinese companies had. But going forward, this is a journey over several years. And who knows what the future will be vis-a-vis how things pan out. I mean, for the first time in our lives, my life, health was the reason for a slowdown and then a lockdown. Otherwise, it was always a financial crisis or maybe a policy crisis. So when we look forward, is the journey impacted? And if we look at 1 year, the answer would be yes. But I don't think one should look at a 1 year time span when we are looking at a vision. The question is, what are the building blocks that are being put together for the vision itself. Now, yesterday, for example, we announced a formation of a separate committee at the board for environment, social, and governance. That's sustainability. That will go through every aspect of the business. It's not about planting trees and doing CSR. It is sustainable products, sustainable processes.
Cut across all activities of the company, right? Business
100%.
and social. Okay.
100%. It will cut across everything of the company. That becomes a wider platform under which we will operate. But the building blocks are what? We've got to remain ahead of technology. In technology, I think we've got good platforms. We'll continue to make variants over there. We've got to now increase the reliance outside the country so that we can grow. And we are putting building blocks. We've appointed during these last 15 months 6 distributors in various clusters of countries in Africa and the Middle East. These are strong industrialists, industries that have experience in automobiles. They understand sales, service, and parts. They understand technology in Africa. Unfortunately, they couldn't get going, but we've got them ready, appointed, ready to go as soon as the lockdowns start opening. So our retail play will also start going up in Middle East and Africa. The third is, do we have a play for electric vehicles? The answer is yes, it will be through Switch. Will it be a play outside India? The answer is yes to that as well. So we are putting in building blocks for the realization of a vision. 1 year, 2 years is not the journey. The journey is over a period of time.
Great. On that note, Mr. Sondhi, best wishes for you and your team. And thanks for this conversation with Autocar Professional. Nice to have you on the show.
Thank you, Sumantra, and stay safe.